others who you think might benefit from what we talk about today, you can pass it along. Remember that by signing in, you will earn a half of a HeartSmart credit today. And if you are watching this virtually, the same is true. Just respond and let Tracy know that you have watched the Resiliency Champion recording, and let her know which one. This is our second session in 2021, and we got off to a strong start last 2 weeks ago, I guess, last time. So we are going to jump right in now. I want to just make sure, can somebody give me a thumbs up? Are you able to hear me okay today? Is our audio good? Okay, wonderful. All right, I am going to screen share, and we will be working off of a slide deck, and then you also should have from Kaylee a worksheet that goes with what we are doing today. So hopefully everybody has that as well. All right, another thumbs up if you can see the slide. Kaylee, are we good?
You're good. Yes, you're good. Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right. So first of all, how are you feeling today? Put a quick word or an emoji or something that gives everyone a sense of how you're feeling today.
Come in. Sure.
All right, and if you can mute, if you're not speaking, that would be fantastic. All right. We're getting a lot of range in where people are, and that is to be expected. So it's fun to see, and it's also a great reminder that how you show up today is not necessarily how others are showing up today. So let's see if we can't continue to either enhance your mood today or turn things around a little bit for you. Okay. I'm getting some feedback. Hopefully that will stop. All right, so as far as today goes, our shared agreement for Resiliency Champions is that we show up with a desire and willingness to be here and to engage. There's no shame, no blame. This isn't a place to make you feel bad for things that you wish you were doing that you're not doing, or for the way you feel, or for your fatigue or lack of energy. There's no shame or blame. Instead, we just want to encourage, collaborate, and multiply our impact with one another at JC Heart Company as a community of resilience champions. So last week I mentioned that resilience comes down to the capacity to persist and recover quickly. We particularly think of that in relation to difficulties. It's about our ability to spring back. And this week, because we're focusing a little more specifically on physical resilience, I wanted to add to that definition and invite you to think about physical resilience as your body's ability to adapt to changes, maintain stamina and strength, and recover quickly and efficiently. It also can pertain to one's ability to function and recover when faced with illness, accidents, or other physical demands. So when we look at that definition, I mean, who doesn't want to be able to adapt to changes and have significant stamina and strength and recover quickly and efficiently? Those are all things that I think all of us desire in our lives. We don't always get there in the same way. And that is one of the points that I wanted to make today, is that when you're working on your resilience, There are things that other people do that may or may not be beneficial to you, but everyone kind of has to carve out their own path. And so that's why I thought that it would be fun today to set you guys up to do a little bit of an experiment so you can be curious about yourself and learn something about yourself in relation to physical resilience. So we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, so what's our opportunity? Well, I love these pictures because they make me smile and because I can relate to both of them. So, you know, if you can relate to either or both of these, hopefully your team hasn't found you out on the grounds at one of our communities, just kind of laid out because you couldn't take another step forward. But I think that these pictures illustrate what it can feel like to feel fatigue, to feel a lack of physical energy, and to just not have what it takes to take another step forward, or at least not to feel like doing so. So our opportunity today is really to focus on that. So here's a little audience participation. Think about the answer to this for yourself. How likely are you to achieve a goal or an intention that you set as planned or on time? So are you very likely to, not so likely to, or highly unlikely to do so? And as you think about that broadly, now bring it into this physical energy, physical health space. So when you set a physical health goal or a goal that relates to your physical well-being, physical energy, how likely are you to achieve that goal or that intention as you planned it and or on time? The question intensifies a little bit, I think, when it comes to our physical health, because everybody tends to set goals toward greater physical health. And yet we have great aspirations and desires in that arena, but we don't always get there. And sometimes we don't get there in the way that we planned, which is okay. But when we don't get there ever, it can be a real detractor and a real drain, or even put us into a physical energy crisis. So what I'd like you to do in the chat is to identify what tends to get in the way for you. So if you set a physical energy or health type of goal or intention, what tends to get in the way for you? So something briefly in the chat. What interferes? What gets in your way? Okay, so we have a lot of good answers in here. Answers about motivation, time. I love the answer myself. I get in my own way. I do that. Sometimes I set my intentions or my goals are just like way too big, and I get in my own way in that regard. Life can get in our way. Resources can get in the way, time or money or those kinds of things. So lots of good responses there. Maybe not having a routine, maybe juggling too many things. All of those things can get in our way. And isn't it interesting that we set these goals or intentions and then we kind of full well know that there's maybe going to be things that interfere with that or get in our way. So we all do it. And what we're going to do today is maybe look at a little different way of moving toward what you want most. So let's keep moving along. I mentioned that today we're going to set up so that you can conduct an experiment to learn more about yourself over the next 2 weeks. And you'll also set an intention that goes along with that. And you should have from Kaylee a worksheet that will help you move through that process today. And hopefully you have something to write on, because we will be actively writing on that worksheet today. All right. So some of you have seen this, some of you may not. I really like the energy audit by Tony Schwartz. It divides into 4 different categories, and we're looking at the physical or the body category today. And these items may be familiar to you. We're going to do something different with them today, so I wanted to bring them up in front of you. So if you can just take a quick look, the first one has to do with sleep and whether or not you wake up feeling refreshed. The second one has to do with nutrition and whether you start your day with some sort of a breakfast or something that is at least, nutritious and fuels your body. The next one has to do with working out. And you can take the word training, it's just meaning that you're doing something cardiovascular and you're doing something that builds strength, like core strength or those kinds of things. And then the last one has to do with breaks and renewing and recharging. So we're going to be selecting one of those areas that you really want to focus on for the purposes of the experiment that we're going to do today. So be thinking about that in the back of your mind. Why do we need to focus on this? Well, here's the reality for a lot of people, and I'm guessing that you may be able to relate to many, if not all, of these situations that are so common right now. Coming through and out of the pandemic, a lot of people have found that they're actually working more, and research findings are telling us that people tend to be working perhaps 20% more these days than they were a year ago. Juggling work with needs at home, though that's always been there, but it's intensified through the pandemic as well. And those needs could be, raising children or the needs of seniors in your life, caretaking needs, those kinds of things. And it also could just be about, maintaining your home at a level that you feel safe when the pandemic is all around us. That's been a big thing. I think we've all had to do a lot more in the protective cleansing space in our homes, perhaps, than even we may have done before. Spending a lot of time in survival mode, not seeing how to or having the energy to create change is something that a lot of people identify with right now, or just getting head down in delivery mode. Like I'm just going to put my head down and work. And eventually I'll bring my head back up and this will be over. And that can contribute to the first item there. And just getting tired or even exhausted. And we know that if nutrition, exercise, sleep, and rest are not adequate, it does create an energy crisis for us. And each of those in and of themselves can diminish greatly from our energy and create an energy crisis. And then if you're juggling more than one of them, it just multiplies out. So I think this slide I like to think of as you are not alone. My guess is that if we had the opportunity to all be in a room together, people would be nodding and going, yes, 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 to so many of these and even more. So that's our reality. That's what we have to work with and move through. And that's why it's so critical to be thinking about how to manage your energy. I noticed on the what gets in the way, a lot of people said time or motivation. And I'm going to propose that if you focus more on managing your energy, you might very well find the time and the motivation. So think about that. It's kind of like going to root cause. Wow, if I managed my energy differently or better, would I then see greater opportunity Would I see more time? Would I feel more motivation? Would I then be able to? It's a great question. All right, so we're going to explore strategies for building your energy. Now, all of you should have that worksheet, and you have it before you. So let's talk about what that is all about. Up at the top, basically what you're going to do today is just look at energy management. So I know that we're very programmed to think about habits and disciplines and, I'm going to set a new goal and then I'm going to discipline myself toward that. I do have planned to do a session a little bit later on how to build new habits. That's a whole thing in and of itself. Wanting something isn't the same as achieving it. And most of the time, if you're going to make a change, you're going to have to really utilize a process and a good understanding of how to build or change habits. So we're not really going after that today. If you look at the top of your worksheet, you've got those 4 different areas that I mentioned. And what I'd like you to do is just look those over and choose one for today. Just one that you want to think more about, that you're curious about, like, why don't I regularly get enough sleep? Or why am I waking up feeling tired all the time? As an example that's before us. So just check one of those boxes. Don't overthink it. You can always go back and try out something else. Now below that on the sheet, you see a space that talks about the values that you have. And so we're going to spend a few minutes in that space. Now, there are no good, bad, right, or wrong answers for this. What I'm asking you to do is to just think broadly for a moment. You checked a box up there at the top of your page. Leave that alone. Okay, get your mind off that for a minute because we're doing this a little differently. Okay, we've paused that. So now what I want you to do is to think about what you want and what you value most. And just brainstorm, anywhere from 5 to 10 things in that space on your sheet. So, for example, you may value having the best health possible for your age. You may value feeling rested in the morning. You may value caretaking for your family. You may value nutritional practices, like getting good nutrition, eating healthy. Like it can be any of those kinds of things. You also can think about what you want. Perhaps you want to advance in your career. And there's a particular position that you want to advance to. I want to advance to this. Perhaps you want to learn new strategies about something. So you're a learner. So what do you want? What do you value? 5 to 10 ideas there. And I'll just wait a few minutes while you do that. All right. As you're writing those down, if you can just put something in the chat that you either value or want in life, social interactions and friendships might be another one, just to give people some ideas who may be a little bit stuck in this area. So I just saw I have a typo. Lovely. All right, so can we get a couple of ideas if you feel comfortable sharing? What do you value? Okay, we have the well-being of others as an example. Knowledge, connections, seeing and making others happy, being there for my family, friendships, success. And success is a great one because it could mean a lot of different things to different people. So if you wrote something like success, try to just build that out a little bit more. What does that mean for you? Success at what? Might be important. All right. You know, a clean, balanced environment, having the energy and ability to do what I want to do. These are all great, you guys. Okay. So now what I want to invite you to do is to look over that list of 5 to 10 values or wants that you have and just circle 2 or 3, not more than 3, that are really compelling because they are that important to you, and they may even relate to the box that you checked up here above. So circle 2 or 3 that are most compelling to you right now. And then take a look, be curious, well, how do those relate or not seem to relate to what you checked above? And now we're going to move to the next step. And I want to challenge you. I just, again, leave the values there. These steps are sort of like separate steps, and then we'll bring it all together in our experiment. So think about one action that you can take or something that you need to stop that's going to increase or manage your physical energy in the area that you checked up above. So now this is going to be specific to your checkbox. Here's something that I want to mention to you guys, and please, please take this to heart. If you decide you need to stop doing something in order to make that item, that habit, or that practice stronger, in order to renew your energy in that area, you need to replace it. So if you're going to, sometimes when people say, oh, I'm going to stop smoking, you don't really stop smoking unless you replace it with something else. So that's why you can think about, oh, I got to stop this. I need to stop. So let's say you're staying up late at night because you're on your phone and you're, either gaming or reading the news, and it just gets really compelling and you don't stop. And next thing you know, you don't get sleep. If you're going to stop doing that, you need to start doing something, like maybe have a time where you're cutting that off, and just like, no matter what, I'm going to set an alarm. And when that alarm goes off, I am going to cut my phone off and set it someplace else. So do you see how I'm replacing what I want to stop doing with what I want to start doing? Okay, so I have a few quick examples while you're thinking about that. And I will go back to that if I can find you guys. All right. I don't have all of the answers on these, so I'm just giving you some examples of things. And over time, I think what we'll be able to do is build a little bit of a resource list of energy renewal strategies for each of the different areas. So the costs are the same across all of these 4 that we're talking about today. By depleting your energy or not managing your energy in each particular area, there are costs to your health, your energy, your alertness, your focused attention, It increases your fatigue. It can impact your appetite either way, your mood, your emotions, your mental health. It can reduce your capacity, and it can get in the way of achieving what you most want or value. So who wants that list, you know? So when we think about these things, that's what we're moving away from. We're looking to manage our physical energy to move away from those costs. So let's say that you are focusing in that sleep category. Possible energy renewal strategies, things that you can do. You can look at this list here. You know, define your day starter so you look forward to it. If you can't stand the way you have to wake up in the morning and what you have to do, I'll tell you, my husband, we have a dog, and he does not like walking the dog in the morning. He doesn't want to get out of bed and walk the dog. And so I'm a morning person, and I can do that, and I enjoy it. And so we switched that around for him so that he had a better day starter. So it's just simple little things that you can think about here. All right, so that's examples for those of you who are writing something in that box that has to do with sleep. Now we're stuck. All right, what about working out enough? Here's some examples that you folks can use depending on what appeals to you and what helps you achieve what you're looking for. You know, on the days you can't work out, that happens to all of us, you can do things like breathing exercises or, you know, pay attention to your steps, take the stairs when you can. Those kinds of things can be built in so you don't have to beat yourself up on days when you're not able to. I do find that if you add your exercise to your calendar, you are much more likely to keep that date with yourself. For those of you who are looking at not taking regular breaks during the day to renew and recharge, skipping lunch or just eating at your desk, well, take back your lunch. Sometimes you have to figure out ways to do that. But here are some ideas that could possibly be helpful to you as well. And I did list breathing exercises here also because if you have one of those days, like, you know, I think we all do sometimes where you can't get a break, just pause and spend a minute or two doing some breathing exercises and then get back to it. That can even help. So small steps can make a difference. Oops, did I get all those? All right. And breakfast, I think I skipped that one. So isn't that funny? Skip breakfast, skip the slide. All right, so here's some ideas for those of you who are working on your morning nutrition. So hopefully everybody has one step or strategy. I want you to look at it now and make sure that it is small and manageable. We are not trying to, you know, leap single buildings or high buildings in a single bound. We're not superheroes. We're just resiliency champions. So make sure that it is manageable and make sure that it is clear. And if after this you feel like you want a little bit of help on clarifying a step that you want to take, you're always welcome to reach out to me. You also can think of these in, you know, the SMART format, making sure that they are specific and measurable and realistic, and that they're happening at a specific time or within a specific time. So the last thing here that we're going to take a look at then is the experiment at the bottom of your worksheet. And I'm going to change slides one last time to get us there, I hope. Well, it has now disappeared. Hang on a second. I know how to fix that. All right. Here we go. Last look at the worksheet. All right, so hopefully now you have an action of what you're going to do, and if you're trying to stop something, you are replacing it. And so what you're going to do is just do an experiment. Remember the things that you identified that you want or value, and you identified 2 or 3 of them. You'll write each one in the box here. So if, for me, one of the things that I value is good health. I might put, good health for my particular age and condition. I might put here caretaking for my parents. That is hugely important to me. And I might put here, I really value my morning routine. And I have aspects to that really set me up well for my day. So whatever those things are for you, you'll write them in these gray boxes. And then this week, work toward that action. Work toward taking that action. And once each day, kind of figure out, based on what you did here, did it help move you toward what you want or value, or away from what you want or value? Was it a gain toward that, or a drain away from? And if you look back on your day and you say, wow, I did this and it really helped move me toward what I valued here, but away from what I valued here, you're going to learn some things about yourself and about perhaps what really gets in the way. Because sometimes the actions that we want to take and the changes that we want to make actually don't move us toward what we want most or value most. And if that's the case for you, then what it really leads us to do is to start reflecting on, if this is what I really want or value, what am I willing to do so that I am continuously stepping toward that or gaining energy toward it as opposed from away? So you're just putting check marks in these boxes. You don't have to write days or anything like that. Just each day, at some point during the day, does what I did with regard to, in renewing my physical energy, did that thing move me toward this value or away from? Toward this value or away from? Toward this value or away from? And at the end of 2 weeks, you can look and see where your check marks fall. And then it gives you an opportunity to sit back, reflect, and either it will align with what you want or value, or it will not. And that will give you opportunity to be curious and to rethink how you want to renew your physical energy in a way that moves you toward what you value or want. So that's our time for today. Remember that there are no right or wrong answers to all of that. It's just up to you. Be curious, be a student of yourself, and learn and value more. And as we are closing here we go. I think the important thing, you guys, as resilience champions, is that you start small and smart somewhere. So as you think about this experiment and just making checks in those boxes and moving toward energy management in one small way, set your intention for what that's going to look like for you. Don't expect yourself to fill out, your experiment 7 days a week. Maybe just set your intention that 5 days a week, I'm going to step back and reflect on whether what I'm doing to manage my physical energy is moving me toward what I value or away from what I value. Okay. That would be a great example. Don't set yourself up for 100% of anything. And we always are more likely to act on our intentions if we share with someone. So find someone you trust and let them know what you are doing. I hope you will tune in again for Resiliency Champions Session 3. That'll be on Friday, March 12th, same time. And you may have noticed that I'm a little underdressed for what I usually am wearing today, and you probably can't see it, but this is a sweatshirt that says a motto that I think is so important for resiliency champions and those of us who have significant investment in strong mental health practices for all. My sweatshirt says, have a strong day. And that's what I wish for all of you. If you have an idea for something you would like me to cover somewhere along the way, feel free to reach out to me. And I'm always happy to build in content that you think will be best and most useful for you. Hope you've enjoyed your time today. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for being who you all are, and have a strong day.